I do want to acknowledge some of the elected officials who are here now and some who had to leave a little bit earlier. I know Senator Gazzone was here. He had to leave. I know Senator Bates was here. I haven't seen her. I don't know if she walked out. She had to leave? Okay. And also Delegate Pendergrass. I know she was here and she may have had to leave as well. Councilman Greg Fox was here. It is his 50th birthday today. So he had to get out to celebrate with his family. I'm just glad he's in the same decade with me again. Took a long time. And then also Councilman Calvin Ball's in the back there, our Vice Chair for the County Council. Thanks for being here. So this is a good afternoon for Columbia. It's a good afternoon for Howard County. And I appreciate you all being here to celebrate with us. I think back to that July morning about, 3 years ago or so? And we stood here with a lot of us who are here today and broke the ground, and we talked about what an exceptional building this would be. And now we're here to see what an exceptional building it has become. And congratulations to Dave Costello and Kingdon Gould and everybody for being part of that. I think it really has truly exceeded all of our expectations. And as a boy who grew up in Howard County, if those trees weren't there, you could see my house and all of you when I grew up. But it is awesome to be here. It is awesome to be here. There's been a lot of energy going on in Columbia with the 50th anniversary coming, and I can't think of a better way to continue to celebrate that with the little Patuxent Square opening up and being part of this landscape and this vibrant renewal and rebirth of downtown Columbia. And to boot, LEED Gold certification. I mean, that is awesome that you were able to do all that together. Yeah. And of course, in a place that America says, and Money Magazine says, the best place to live in America. Thank you to Ken Allman for helping with that too, making us one of the best places to live in America. No, but you were the one that did it. Hey, I got to be there. But I also want to make sure I acknowledge Milton Matthews, the president of the Columbia Association, is here. Thank you very much for being here, Milton. I know a lot of other folks from the Columbia Association are here. I appreciate that. You don't need to hear as much from me. I will be the MC for today's festivities. And I'm going to turn it over first to the council member who represents this district and who has worked hard to help bring the redevelopment and rebirth of downtown Columbia, Mary Kay Siggety. Mary Kay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, folks.
Good afternoon.
There you go. So I remember when we were doing the downtown Columbia plan. This particular parcel already had a development plan on it, and we were trying to figure out what the heck we were going to do with it as part of the downtown Columbia plan. Ultimately, what we chose to do was to actually put a little square around it and say if they could develop under their development plan, they should go forward and do it. So, to Mr. Costello, to Mr. Gould, to everyone who was part of this, thank you for taking that little square with the little red line around it and turning it into something absolutely spectacular. I have the opportunity on many an occasion to walk past this building. I've been watching it go up. And my husband comes by this building on the bus every night, and he has been watching it go up. And at our house, this building has been the topic of conversation because it is gorgeous. It is indeed the kind of building and the kind of future that I know I was thinking about when I passed the Downtown Columbia plan, and I know my colleagues were thinking about when we passed it. So for all of you in the audience who've been part of making this happen, I will be eternally grateful because you have set a standard for what we need to be doing. So thank you, and I'm sure there are many in the audience. On a very personal note, I took the opportunity back in 1972 to come to Columbia because Columbia was a new and growing place. It was a place where I thought my future would be, and sure enough, it turned out my future has been. And I want to, again, say that The future is this and going forward. So the investment that we have made, the work that we have done, the imagination that this shows, the commitment to the community, and the absolute integration of sculpture into architecture, into creating a place where people want to live and want to be. That's what this project is. So again, I thank Mr. Gould and all of your family, Mr. Costello, David, and everyone else. Thank you.
Now it's my honor to ask to come up and say a few words. The gentleman who did work with Ms. Ziggedy and other council members to craft the 2010 downtown plan, who has certainly deserves a lot of credit for how Howard County has grown over the past 10 years or plus. Former you were county council member with me. Former county executive Ken Ullman.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive and former council member. That's right. And former senator. I know the feeling. I'll be real brief. I just really want to thank everyone who had a role to play in this. David, I would say we're here because David Costello is a pit bull and just got this thing done and had great partners in Mr. Gould and your family. To each and every one of you. I know there are other partners here as well, and I could probably stand here for an hour and recount all the discussions about this piece of land and all the back and forth and all the meetings, but the fact is you got it done, and congratulations. I mean, you deserve another round of applause for David and the Goulds and the team. And we talk about mixed-use projects. Those in the planning world, architects, designers, mixed use, it's got to be mixed use, got to have retail on the first floor and something above, and it's a lot harder to do than it is to say. And the fact is that in this building, you're going to have people come to work every day, working for a great company. You're going to have people living here. You're going to have people shopping here. You're going to have people, spending time in this building that adds to our tax base. We all talk about the balance between residential and commercial. This building is an example of that. And lastly, I happen to see Matt D'Amico. Where's Matt? I'm going to embarrass Matt. There's Matt in the back. Those of you who don't know Matt, Matt's with Design Collective, had a role in this building, but more importantly from my perspective, Matt and his team were the group that were hired years ago to do the charrette for Town Center, for downtown Columbia. When we were trying to figure out how does this place come together in a more vibrant, pedestrian-friendly, energized way that enhances the quality of life, enhances the tax base, et cetera. And when you stand up here and you look around and you see Milton and the folks at CA finish that loop around the lake, and now when you come and walk on any time, but on a Sunday morning, we were just here, people fishing and walking their dogs and biking, and it really feels like the community's coming together, and you see the renovations at Merriweather, and you just see the projects that are happening, the new Chrysalis, Merriweather movie nights. I see Gene in the back. This place is really, truly coming together, but it takes that investment. It takes that willingness to take a risk, which the Gould family and David and your whole team did. So congratulations, and you have a lot to be really proud of here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And now, on behalf of the Gould family, as Ken and others have said, how much they have been a part of this, and I know they're very close to you, David, and work so closely with you. And I remember Kingdon and David showing me the big hole when you were digging the hole 6 stories down, and thinking, what's going to happen in that hole? But here to represent the Gould family is Kingdon Gould III.
Many years ago, before Nick and Carly were around, Pat Hart, remember Pat, introduced, who was a colleague of my father's at the Glen Elk Country School, introduced David Costello to Dad to do a little construction project. Pretty soon after that, Dad discovered that David had a better backhand than I did, and also a better forehand and serve. And so he became great friends. And Dad and David enjoyed sports. They're both competitive, you may know. And that became a great friendship over a number of years. Dad has always admired vision and gumption and persistence. And that all of those qualities are ones that David has in spades. And we had some good fortune because, as you know, David is a contractor and he got things done, and we built a couple of buildings with him. And so we've stayed, our whole families have stayed good friends. David's a great pal of mine, David. And as are his lovely wife, Barbara, and his kids. So when this came along, this was something that this project had vision, had actually Jim Rouse's vision of mixed use, which was then carried on in the new downtown plan. And it was walkable. And so it was a natural thing for my family, for my dad to join with our pal David to build this. And it's been a great pleasure. We're very proud of doing it. We live here in the county, and so working with our friend who grew up here to build this just feels about right. Congratulations, David.
Your dad.
Pop. Thank you, Barbara, for putting up with David. We think it's great, and thank everyone else for showing up. It really has been a great project, and these are hard. I know, because we're in the development business, and these mixed-use ones are hard. They're complicated, and David and Dad got this one figured out, and they got it built, and here we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, and I can tell you, few people in the world do I respect more than Kingdon Gould Jr. And he's an amazing individual who has taught me an awful lot, and I just thank you for letting me be with you today. Now we're going to turn over to another Howard County favorite son, who is now also our Lieutenant Governor, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford.
Thank you, County Executive, and thank everyone for being here. Good evening. It was supposed to respond, but that's okay. This is not being recorded. But I want to begin by congratulating, of course, Ambassador Gould and David and everyone who's been involved in this project. It's very exciting, not just for Columbia and not just for Howard County, but for the full state, the whole state of Maryland. You know, this is a good example of the economic development and our commitment, the state commitment, and the Hogan administration's commitment to making the state more business friendly. And I want to thank, the two county executives here, County Executive Allman, who was very business friendly in his administration, and Alan Kittleman, the county executive, who's been continuing that. And it makes this a great place to live, work, and actually retire. And we're trying to work on that as well. A couple of years ago, we had people leaving the state, wanting to leave the state, and we've been working every year to try to make it easier for people to stay in the state, stay close to their families, as well as continue to be vibrant community members. So I'm happy to be here at this dedication and ribbon cutting for Little Patuxent Square. A little while ago, I was trying to remember exactly what was here beforehand, and then David reminded us of the little buildings that were here and the old movie theater that was, I guess, over here. I now look at these apartments, and on a personal note, I've been working on my wife to sell our house, and move to an apartment or condo because I'm tired of doing yard work, and I want someone else to shovel the snow now that my kids are out of the house. So, but she's still not quite going along with that. She talks about the kids are supposed to have a place to come back to, and I said, no, we're supposed to go to their place. You know, that's the idea. They get a place, we go there, they don't come back home. That's at least my view, but it doesn't always work that way. But I've known David Costello back when I was General Services Secretary, and we resolved a few issues that I think David was... St. Mary's, that's right. St. Mary's College, there was an issue there that we got resolved, and we've been close since then. Ambassador Gould, I met several years ago, and of course have long respected the ambassador as a World War II veteran and Silver Star and Purple Heart recipient, philanthropist, and of course a successful businessman. And Thank you. I'm sorry. I should have stopped with that. And they came together for this wonderful vision of a mixed-use facility, mixed-use building, Class A office space, luxury apartments, and was it gold, LEED gold certification of this building and this project. It is definitely a shining star for the development of the town center here, and no doubt will be an economic driver for both Columbia and Howard County. So I want to just say thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, David, and all those who have been involved in this project. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. And now we're also well, I guess I should tell you, you have Monica talk to Lou and Diana, since they're going to have a spot over here, so they might be able to talk her into that.
Need some help.
Anyway, we also are very honored to have the comptroller come, another person who, as the Lieutenant Governor talked about being business friendly, someone who has really worked hard to make Maryland a better place for business and does whatever he can to promote that and to make our state a better place. So Comptroller Francho, please.
And Alan, thank you for your leadership and your advocacy of Howard County. You're doing a great job here, Mr. County Executive, and just keep up the good work. I am absolutely privileged to be here. If I could, I'd like to just give a tip of my hat to Ambassador Kingdon Gould, Jr., because 2 years ago, my dad moved here to Maryland from Ohio. When I told Governor Hogan he was so happy that someone was moving here, he had an honorary lunch for him. But my dad happened to be a B-24 bomber pilot in World War II, and he's now living down at Riderwood Village. But I had these medallions made up to honor veterans and first responders and Marylanders who make a difference. And I gave the very first one to him 2 years ago. And since then, I've given them to all sorts of people, terrific people, but none of them close to Ambassador Kingdon Gould, Jr. and what he's done for our country and our state. And I really appreciate being here with Governor Rutherford, Lieutenant Governor Rutherford. Sometimes he subs in at the Board of Public Works, and that's quite an experience because he understands construction and capital projects. And just want to salute Governor Rutherford for his advocacy down in Annapolis for procurement reform and for respecting the taxpayers, and well, I appreciate that. And then former County Executive Ullman, who's doing so much for development himself over in the College Park area. It's great to see his success. Kingdon Gould III, I have met with on several occasions, and he is always just as irreverent as he sounded. But he's a wonderful Marylander and makes a big difference. And then my special friend, Marianne Siggety, of course, who represents this area, but Dave Costello is someone that I have met, and I believe over the next, well, let's just assume I might win re-election next year. I can pretty much guarantee that David Costello's ideas about how you build facilities and buildings, how the state does it, we're going to move in the direction of Dave Costello, because we can build the same quality structures around the state and save our taxpayers a lot of money if we use some of the thinking and creativeness of Dave Costello. And I just want to applaud him for Costello Construction and everything that his company over the years represents. I love that new courthouse up at Catonsville, I believe, and that's what I'm talking about when I say Dave Costello is going to make a big mark, a positive mark on the state of Maryland. This building's a testament to that quality and caliber work that I just mentioned that Dave Costello is known for. Undoubtedly, it'll contribute to the continued economic growth here in Columbia. As the state's chief fiscal officer, I'm truly appreciative of the good-paying jobs and economic activity and tax revenue that will be generated by the businesses and residents that will soon call Little Patuxent Square home. And as you know, Columbia recently celebrated its 50th birthday. It has truly been remarkable to witness the economic and population growth in this community over the last several years. I call it the economic breadbasket of the state of Maryland, Howard County. It was literally the breadbasket for the Revolutionary Army during the Revolutionary War, but it is the economic breadbasket for our state currently. And the close and collaborative partnership between the private sector, the government, local residents that have allowed this community to grow at a pace and a level that preserves open space and quality of living while increasing commerce and economic activity. I just want to commend County Executive Kittleman again and Councilwoman Siggety and all the community leaders, stakeholders, and private sector individuals who have worked together to make this project come to fruition. And once again, I offer my sincerest congratulations to Ambassador Gould and to David Costello on this new venture. Thank you very much.
And now the other man of the hour, Ambassador Gould is the one, the other man of the hour, and we've been talking a lot about perseverance and persistence, and I got a feeling that they're going to change Webster's Dictionary to have his picture next to those words, because he really is the kind of person, he calls a lot, but he right, Mary Kay? Right, Ken? You make a lot of people work. You make a lot of people work, and you put a lot of people to work, which is a good thing. And I'm glad that he's a Howard County and a native and a favorite son and someone that I consider a friend, David Costello.
I really don't know what to say with all you. It's a tough act to follow.
Are you done?
I'm done, yeah. I have a lot of people to thank, though. First of all, thank you for agreeing to MC and do this. It's something I'm not capable of, so it was really nice of you to do it. I wanted to thank Lieutenant Governor for coming. It's really special, and the Comptroller to come, both at the same private sector event. I think it is a statement to how big of a project we built, and probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for my partner, Mr. Gould. Kingdon, thank you for the kind words. We've been friends a long time. I'm very appreciative of that. Ken, thanks for coming. And where would we be without Mary Kay? So I made a few notes, because I have a lot of people to thank. So this is going to sound a little bit like I won an Oscar or something here. So it's really just a lot of thank yous, if you could bear with me. And, first of all, my gosh, thanks for everybody coming to our building here. What an honor to have so many people come out for this. So back in June of 2012, this land was sitting vacant, and I remember thinking how someone, whose name I won't mention, said, David, back when WCI was getting ready to build a 23-story building, said, are you really going to be able to live with watching another contractor build a building every day you drive to work? I thought to myself, well, that's going to be tough. So the land sat and sat, and I called up my friend Dick Talkin, and I said, Dick, we should buy that piece of land. And he said, you're right. And where is Dick? you know, together, Dick and I bought this piece of land with the help of Sang, and it all started with you, Dick, and those early conversations, and I really appreciate your friendship and helping me get that done. You too, Sang. In that initial phase, you know, doing anything in Columbia is complicated. There's easements, there's deed restrictions, there's all kinds of complicated things you have to work around. And we had a very stringent deed restriction from Howard Hughes Corporation. Unfortunately, John DeWolf's not here today, but Nancy's here for Howard Hughes. And Dick and I went and met with John very early on and got his buy-in to our vision, which was to build a true mixed-use project. And you know, John could have really stuck it to us, and he didn't. And we would not be able to be here today if it weren't for John. So John, I think he's doing well and recovering. So Nancy, if you would tell him that we do appreciate him working with us back then. He could have made it a lot harder on us. So anyway, Dick helped me buy the land, and I'll get to Mr. Gould. I needed a partner, but I'm going to save that part to the end. But we then moved to the design phase, and we had to figure out what we were going to build. And it was actually Kingdon III and I, that I think it was a Saturday we were talking about what to build, and we called up Kingdon's cousin, Guy Martin, who I think is around here somewhere. Guy? Guy left. So anyway, Guy Martin and Ron Nim, both with CORE, sort of designed the outline of the building that you see here. So I wanted to recognize them, but they left, but they were an integral part of everything. We hired a team of engineers that was S3E. They're not here either, but Mel Strauss stuck with it through cancer, was with us every step of the way, had phone conversations with him from the hospital at times. And so we got through the original design phase and moved into the permit phase. And there are some folks on the permit phase that I want to thank. Don Mock, Bob Francis, both here, worked with us endlessly to basically design and come up with this building, and we could not have done it without you. So thank you. I wish Sid was here. I wish Andrew was here, Jim Hobson, you know, the countless meetings. Thank you guys. Really. People don't realize how good this county is to work in relative to other counties, and those two guys, with the help of you guys, really make that happen. Check my notes here and make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay, so then we sort of get through that. I also want to mention Heather, who's not here from Park and Planning and Zoning, also was such a big help, and if you would let her know that I appreciate her help through the planning phase. Then we needed to get development bonds. And, you know, not everybody can just come up with a letter of credit or a bond to say we're going to finish this building no matter what. But my friend John Souter with Zurich came through in 24 hours and wrote the bonds. And I wanted to tell John how proud I am to have Zurich as my bonding company. I hope you're my bonding company till the day that I'm not running, whatever happens. But we're really proud to have Zurich paper, and thank you for that. My friend Matt D'Amico and I met on a Saturday one day. We had to tweak a little bit of design work. We were having trouble getting the density of parking that we needed to make the building work, and Matt worked basically 24 hours a day for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, and we came up with a more efficient design in a matter of a few days, and we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Matt Design Collective, so thank you guys. The facade that we had come up with was a little bit less than my partner and I liked, and we needed to make some tweaks, and we needed to have someone local to complete the design. And I called up my friend Rick Donnelly, who had helped with the last building we built around the corner, and he and his team made some tweaks and helped Guy and I refine some of the design, including the stone water table, which we just talked about. And Rick, I wanted to thank you guys and recognize you wherever you guys are. There they are, Gary Wan and folks. So part of that team was a guy named Jeff Kennelly, who was with Marabido. It was a very complicated structure. Jeff, they have no idea how complicated it is, right? Digging a 65-foot deep hole, 30,000 cubic yards of concrete, I don't know how many tons of rebar. Do you know how many tons? There's a lot. A lot of post-tensioning. Roger might know. But anyway, thank you, Jeff. You were a big help too. So then I want to really recognize some of the unsung heroes. You know, I'm a blue-collar guy when it's all stripped away, and I want to recognize some of my blue-collar partners too. Early on, there were 4 subcontractors that bought into this project with me based on really the back of a napkin drawing. And my friends at Bopat were one of the first ones to sign up. They took a flyer with me. I appreciate it. Rich Beatty with MEC Squared, back of a napkin, gave me a price, no change orders, built it for me. Couldn't have done it without you. Well, maybe a couple, but small ones. Dan Rude with Inspiration Plumbing is around here somewhere. He did the same thing. Couldn't have done it without you. And then my friend Mike Ogden and Al Samar and I can't think of Cristaldo, right. You guys worked endless hours putting up the facade of this building. Everyone in this room will say how beautiful the building is. It's because of the glass and the work that you guys did, and I can't thank you enough. I remember Sundays, Saturdays, snowstorms, hot days. You guys were here, so thank you. And there are a core group of subcontractors that were here from the beginning and here till the end, and we really appreciate you. So on behalf of Mr. Goulden, I thank you for an endless commitment to the job. We couldn't have built the building without a little bit of extra money. That's where my friend Pat Tehan comes in, and Dan, both with PNC Bank. They helped us. You've been a great partner to Mr. Goulden and I. Thank you for that. Thank you for being there for us. A couple more people. I do want to recognize my friend Roger Arnold, who runs a company called Millerlong and Arnold. We had dug this massive hole, and it was a big hole. Just so you know, there were 150,000 cubic yards of dirt came out of this site. That's 15,000 truckloads of dirt. And then we brought back in 3,000 truckloads of concrete. Is that about right, Roger? About 3,000? So we dug to the bottom, and we had awarded the concrete to another guy who we won't mention. And he decided he got busy on another job, maybe like a big casino or something down in the southern part of Maryland, PG County or something. And I called up Roger. We cut a deal on a Saturday for a $13.5 million concrete subcontract. He was there the next Monday, and we never looked back, and I could not have done it without Roger. Thank you. And by the way, no subcontract, handshake, Roger Arnold and I. 4 jobs that we've done together, never a contract, never a fight. I know that's not the way to do things, but certain people can do it. But anyway, Roger, thank you for stepping in. We could not have done this without you. Okay, so then moving along a little bit, we needed a tenant, and my friend Hayes Merkert got us one of the best tenants that anybody could have ever gotten. It's United Healthcare. It turned out to be United Healthcare. Hayes, thank you. I don't know if Mike is here. Did I not see Mike Bromley and Lance? Lance, thank you. Please give my regards to Mike. QSSI bought into the vision of the building early on. They were our partner from the beginning. Thank you so much for being there. We might not be here without you. Thank you. Okay, so then I have my own group, which is kind of over here. We have Adrian and Christian and Dan. They were our sort of field group, and then one of my best friends in the world, Brian Shoemate, who we wouldn't have any projects done without him. So thank you, guys. I want to thank Howard Bank, too. They bought into the vision early on. I don't see Mary Ann, but I do see Dennis. And Dennis, thank you. They're a tenant in the building. We love having you here. Hopefully you're here for 30 years, making a lot of money and having one of the best branches that you could ever have. So thank you for buying in. But so it's really a good-looking building. Don't you guys think it's a good-looking building? It's a good-looking building. And I do really like the building. But, you know, early on, you know, I had this friendship with Mr. Gould, and there's a lot of pressure that goes into a deal like this. I mean, it took a lot of money. We've got like $75 million together with the bank and with Mr. Gould and I in the building. And, I thought about it the other day, and with that kind of pressure, a friendship can go one of two ways, really. It's chances are it's not going to stay the same. It's either going to get worse or it's going to get better. And, the thing I'm proud of is that our friendship got better. So this is all from Mr. Gould. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you all very much for being here. I know it means a lot to David and Kingdon that you're here. And I don't know if you want to say anything, but I think that's all we're going to be doing here. There might be a ribbon cutting downstairs, I think, David. Are you going to go downstairs? Okay, so anybody wants to join us downstairs, I guess we can do that when.
Anybody or stay and eat, whatever you
Okay.
want to do.
Enjoy your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yay!